these pieces just... Oh my gosh, just look at the rear end. Welcome to today's video. We are still in Fukushima at Side X Japan, and we got up super early today because the old girl needs some love, and we got spring material coming up. All the homies, and when I say all the homies, I literally mean all the homies are coming for spring material, so we got to make sure this thing's in tip-top shape, make this thing look good. As long as it's sound mechanically, I don't really care about looks, but she's a little beat up since the last time I drove it at Nikko Circuit. Thanks, Colette. Actually, no, you know what? It wasn't Colette's fault. It was 100% Jason's fault. He threw the back in front of us. But yeah, we need to get this thing fixed up. So, last time we drove it, I think the transmission blew. I hope that's all that blew. I'm 90% sure it was my third gear. It's hard to remember. It was a while ago. Oh. There we go. Oh, beautiful. We might need a new hood too. Oh God. Oh yeah, well, it fell out on that side entirely. Get this terminal on here. We got a driver in the shop, cause we gotta pull that tranny out. Hope it still runs. Oh my gosh, look at all the pollen. You guys have no idea how bad my hay fever and allergies are. This year is the worst. Like, look at that. All that yellow, that's all pollen. It is so wild here. All right, let's see if this thing will run. Yeah. Smells like a cat pissed in here though. She's good. All right. Transmission does not sound happy. I do not remember how many tail lamps we've gone through on this car. Anyways, first thing that we need to do is get this shifter taken out of the car. So then all we have to worry about is dropping the trans. Shifter is now out. I love how the R154s is just 410 mils. Well, it's actually 8 if you count the 4 for the piece up here, but yeah, super easy. And now the real fun begins. We've already taken the exhaust off, and we're gonna drop the transmission today. Third gear is completely gone, and there's some other weird issue going on inside there, I think, so probably everything just got munched up. And it sucks because this is still a fairly new transmission. It was brand new about a year ago and it already popped. But I think it was about a year and a half. I can't remember. I'll have to go back on YouTube videos to see when I changed this last. It may be 2 years. But I upgraded to a twin disc just because I was like, oh, I want the clutch to last longer. But I never thought about how much more the twin disc could shock the transmission. So if I blow up another one very quickly, then I know I need to go back to a super single. But yeah, hopefully that's not the case. And I'm pretty serious about most likely putting a dog transmission in this just because I don't want any more downtime. If I keep blowing diffs as well, because I really like the 4:1 ratio in this, I will most likely just put a Winters in there. Which is kind of funny because Daigo Saito does the same thing with his JZX missile. He has a G-Force and a Winters in it, just because he was sick of blowing those things up. And it's just like an old, tired, low compression 1J that powers everything, which is pretty much the same as mine. So yeah, that's my game plan for now. We're gonna get this transmission out as quick as possible. Probably take us less than 30 minutes. And then we're going to take it back with us because I found a shop close to Okachan's shop actually that rebuilds these transmissions for only about $800 USD. So I'm taking my 2 blown transmissions that I have here in storage and TJ Hunt's blown transmission, and we're going to get them all rebuilt and stored at the shop as spares. It's a good idea for me to have a spare at the rate that I keep popping these, and until we get a G-Force in there, it makes sense. All right, guys, we're about to drain the oil, and I'm expecting to see a glitter bomb. Oh. Why is it all milky? That's weird. Oh, there's just pieces of metal coming out. Oh no. I think we blew a gear big. There's just chunks of metal falling into this. Why is it this color? I don't know if that's like the type of oil that it is or what, but it's like all milky like this. Only time I've seen milkshakes like that is if it's got water contamination. Huh, I'm gonna ask Fasto. Maybe this is just like the brand or maker oil or something, but interesting. Let's see what the magnet's gonna get us, guys. Oof. There's one piece of transmission. Oh yeah. I'm gonna try and get out as many big pieces as I can. The transmission's gonna get overhauled, completely rebuilt. Oh wow. But I hope we get to see the old gear set that's gonna come out of this. Like, I just wanna see how destroyed it was. Because it felt like I lost every single cog on that gear. And it looks like that. Like, all these pieces just sheared it straight off. And it's only third gear. Every other gear works. Yeah. More and more just keeps coming out. It's kind of sad. I thought this transmission would last me a little bit longer. But it did last the longest. The first one I had didn't even last like 3 months. And that was just the old one that came in the car, but this is what we're dealing with. That's my third gear there, guys. Jeez. And just like that, transmission is out and we're good. We're gonna lower this thing down, put all the parts inside, and then we're gonna take this off, get it rebuilt. So here is where the Chaser will rest until the new transmission for it arrives next week. And that thing will be up and running again. We're also changing the front end to an FDF angle kit. We're also putting the hydro back, like finally in. We've had the calipers on the back for a while. So I'm excited to be able to actually put that hydro in, and then getting this thing cleaned up mid this year. We've got some nice parts over here. It's gonna really help with making the Chaser look like a Chaser again. Ooh yeah, we got a front clip. I'm excited, that car's gonna look great. I've got a lot of aero parts and everything all loaded up, even stuff from my FD car that's gonna be getting fixed and repaired for the new season. Some blown transmissions. This is gonna look interesting driving down the highway. We are now back at the shop, and as you can see, Abandoned Skyline is now on the lift, and we're starting to work on it, which I'm excited about. But also, we are still smashing out the Abandoned S15. Now, this thing started off as, I'm probably just gonna make it like a practice car and not really gonna fix up much on the thing. Like, it was pretty well in like okay condition when it comes to like Silvias with rust. It's definitely worse ones out there, but I've kind of gone a little bit all out. Now, if you follow me on the back here, this did not look like this, and there's definitely some not so pretty welds there, but that's because we had to fill in a lot of holes. But we had to fix all of, over here they made a mistake with the riv nuts. They put them all in the wrong position, and I think they realized that one side was looking lower than the other side for the rear fender. I don't think they measured from here to here or from there to there. So there were 2 lots of nutsert holes the full way around this whole arch. So I've pretty much gone and cleaned them all up, and I've welded and plugged every single one of these. So that's gonna all get shaved down, and it'll get cleaned up with a bit of body filler and stuff like that. But obviously we're not gonna be seeing under here. We're gonna have a nice Yashio factory, full over fender on this. So none of this will be seen, but this will be sealed properly this time around. We found that it wasn't sealed properly before. The welding was super questionable. All the gaps were left open. I've gone through and sealed everything. And this side, it should be good. Now the other side, unfortunately, had it a little rougher. So on this side, there's only one rib nut hole for the fender, but unfortunately this side, a lot more water got into the other. That wasn't sealed anywhere near as much as the other side. So there are some holes here that we had to cut out some rust, and we're just welding these plates over the top. Doesn't really bother me because we are putting the Yashio factory over fender on, and it's just gonna actually make this a lot stronger having these plates here. Doesn't look the greatest, but once I get some more tacks on there, we'll beat it with a hammer, make it take shape a bit more, and then I'll kind of weld all these holes up. But first thing I'm gonna do on this side is I'm gonna plug all of these holes on the rib nuts. That way when we go to actually re-drill holes, that it's not a problem. Most of the Yashio factory over fender stuff is actually all along the top here and around the edges, so I don't see it at all going to conflict with these holes. And we could have just, you know, put some panel bond or body filler in the holes and sent it, but I just prefer to seal it up with a weld. And I've gone and sprayed the back of them from inside the fender, inside the car with the weld-through primer. Over here it's called Spot Zinc. But yeah, we're gonna go through, plug all these holes, and get this sorted out. Oh, also we found rust in the rocker here, and there's now a big hole here that we're in the process of patching up and welding as well. That's pretty much it. Then the whole rear end is done. Hopefully today. While I'm taking a quick break from some welding because I'm physically exhausted, let's check in on what Daikie's working on. It's a little bit of a rear fender cutting kind of day, but this was already done, and it was an interesting way that I haven't seen it done before. There was no welds, but they really massaged this quite well and rolled it and glued the two together with silicone, and then had pot rivets all the way around. So what we're doing now is actually cutting this up here a little bit closer to the body line, because we don't need this part coming out like this. We actually need it to be straight, because when we put the over fenders on this car, we need this to be nice and flush. The other thing is, because of the method of what they did, a lot of water seeped in between the two and they rusted a lot. So we want to cut this out so that we can get in there and clean as much of the rust as we can, and get in there with that really nice like epoxy zinc filled primer, so that it's not going to rust again, and when we weld it up, it's not going to have any issues. A random thought just popped in my head, but do you think I could convert my GoPed to E85? I do have, just so happens, 200 litre drum of it. So, and I was riding the GoPed a little bit today, and I'm so sick of just how, like, the tuning screws just, I don't know, I got this super cheap China carburetor for it, and it doesn't matter how I adjust the screws, it just doesn't seem to do it correctly, and it's always too rich. So my thought process is, if we change to E85 in it, maybe it'll run better. So, we're gonna do an E85 swap real quick. La 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 la. Oh, please work. This thing does pretty mean burnout. This thing's sick. Well, runs on E85 now. There you go. I've gone and put the tail lamps in the back of the 32, and I grabbed the BN Sports rear bumper. I just want to get an idea of what this looks like. And I'm just gonna kind of like, see if I can hold this here somehow. Oh, it looks so good. Wait, how can I make this stay here? I don't have any bolt holes drilled in the kit yet. Hang on, I need to, give us a second, guys. I need to find a way to keep this here. It's held on with tape right now, but this looks so good. Oh my gosh, just look at the rear end. Look at this rear end. I've always wanted a BM Sports kit on a 32. This just looks so good. Cannot wait till this thing is finished now. Getting these over fenders sorted out is like the first big step, so this is gonna look amazing. Man. I'm so glad we saved this car. It's crazy. To think of like, just quickly, like if I think about these three cars right here, right? The Bogan 32, pretty much cost me $1,800. Abandoned S15, $3,500. Abandoned 32, like $1,300. Like, I got these cars crazy cheap. Bear in mind, obviously, a lot of work has to go into them to make them good again, but so worth it, so worth it. We're pretty much done with welding and everything that we needed to get done on the Abandoned S15. In the rear end, there's pretty much nothing after this. We do have to obviously put some panel bond and sealer and seam sealer all over the welds and stuff that we did today in the arches and whatnot. But that's pretty much it. From here, the front end just needs to be dealt with, which we've got some really exciting stuff coming. Obviously, we got some parts from Nissan that I think I showed you a couple videos back. But we do have some special made parts that Nissan no longer makes that should help us repair the front end that's on here, which I'm excited about. I've been really enjoying getting into welding and all that kind of stuff, and I've been learning so much. This time around, I'm having a really good time as well welding the body panels. I've figured out the settings on the welder. I feel like I've got a bit of confidence myself, and my welding skills gotten so much better too. Obviously, still got a lot to learn. I'm not an amazing welder, master welder yet, but I'd like to think I'm kind of halfway there. That aside, I'm excited. Both these cars are on the lift. That only means good things. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Smash that like button, write us a comment and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one, where we're gonna be doing some cool stuff with the Bogan 32, starting to make that a little bit more legit, as well as we're gonna start pulling some parts off it because it's a missile. We weren't able to get the paperwork for it. There's a bit of a sad story about it, but maybe we'll go into detail about that some other time. But for now, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.